Hello, everyone. Welcome. I just want to congratulate you for being in the room. That takes a lot to occupy seats and take time away from your families and steal time from yourself and from your loved ones to be in a room like this, so thank you. My story of success began when I was 9 years old, sitting at the edge of the bed with my father, and my father said, "I want you to be somebody. I want you to be somebody." And that day, I was leaving for India to go to boarding school in a Catholic boarding school in India. No concept of what was happening, but I was leaving that day to go to India from here. My entire life path from there on became this attainment to be somebody. So I went through school looking at other students, thinking, that's who I want to be. And then I would look at this person, and I would be like, this is who I want to be, without understanding that there was this. So an entire school system I spent trying to be somebody. Then I moved into my career, and the same pattern repeated itself. I was trying to be somebody. So who was I as that somebody? I would look at other leaders and I would think, that's what I should be like. I would look at other managers and think, that's what I should be like. That's why everything else is falling apart in my life, because I'm not somebody yet. But that somebody is going to come. And it filled me with hope and this faith of something that was unattainable. Then I would go to conference after conference and workshop after workshop, looking at people that were speakers, and they were bringing all this beautiful thing, all these beautiful concepts to the world. And I would look at them and think, that's the somebody. And I would leave the conference all jazzed, and I would be like, yeah, I got it this time. Nope, didn't have it again. So then I would go home 2-3 days. I would be all jazzed up about the conference or the workshop or what I just attended. And then it would fall flat again. And then again, I'd look for the next conference and the next speaker and somebody else who was going to give me this world of who I was meant to be. Went through a domesticated life at home, because that defined somebody. I was the perfect wife. I needed to be the perfect mom. I needed to be the perfect person in every facet of my life, because somewhere rested the somebody. And I wanted to make everybody proud that I found the somebody. And then one day, a divorce happened. Lost connection with family. Sat in a condo in Nanaimo by myself. And you do not know silence until you're sitting there by yourself and you can hear the clock and you can hear your heartbeat. And believe me, silence is not silence at all. It is extremely loud. And that's where I had to redefine success for me. I had lived this life based on being somebody. And that somebody was as close to my heart. And yet I had this external search. And believe me when I say I've traveled the world, Belize, Mauritius, Goa, Dubai, India, trying to search for this somebody. I think, I've been to ashrams and spiritual centers and, religious placements to try and figure out this somebody. And that day, as I sat in that condo in Nanaimo, having no connection to the external world, I had to recognize that, oh shit, better hold up the mirror and figure this out. And that began an 8-year journey of peeling the onion. Who was I? What did I want? When people asked me, my coach in particular, she asked me a question once. She said, Jivi, What did you want out of that situation? And I know it won't shock you guys. I didn't know. Every time she would say, okay, this situation is happening. What did you want out of it? And I would look at her and I would say, well, what do you mean, what do I want out of it? I literally couldn't even understand the question, let alone give her an answer. So I started thinking about that. I started thinking about, what does Jivi want? If I had to answer this question right now, what would I want? And then became the cycle of, it's selfish, Jivi, to say what you want. That's not nice. You shouldn't exude what you want. That's not success. Look at everybody else out there that's successful. They don't go around telling people what they want. So 8 years, it took me to come to a place of that inner journey, to question myself every time I made a choice, every time I made a decision. Where was that choice coming from? Where was that motivation coming from? And I find it funny that sometimes we don't recognize how much work it frickin' takes. There's no shortcut. You have to do the work. And I wanted a shortcut. Why do you think I went to all those conferences and workshops and every single ashram that I could name? Because I thought I knew, that somebody was going to give me the answer. But the answer doesn't come until we look inside ourselves, because you define success for you. Today, defining success for me looks like leaving a workshop and somebody says, you know what, Jivi, in the last workshop when you said blah, 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 I've been thinking about that. That's frickin' success. When I go out in public somewhere and someone says, hey, I saw one of your keynotes and I heard you say blah, 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 that really touches my heart. That's success. The other day I was at a social setting and someone said to me, Jivi, even though we were working together in a work environment, but you've shifted my relationship with my wife. And I looked at this gentleman and I was like, this is success. So what I would invite you to do is ask yourself 2 questions. One is, who is defining success for you? Whose success are you looking at thinking, that's what I should, could, or would be doing, and then I would be successful? And then stop it. Guess what? You have choice. You have choice to stop that. Just because it's a pattern that runs in us doesn't mean we have to do it. And yet we get on that treadmill and we think that's what we have to do. So it's as easy as that. Look at who is defining your success for you, and then look at stopping it. And then take the journey. Stop for a moment. Ask yourself those questions. Every time you're going to make a choice or a decision, it takes a matter of minutes to stop and think, what do I really want out of this situation? Not because that's what people want from me, but what do I want? So stop for a moment, and in this moment, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to visualize that person or the situation that's defining your success. Who is that person? What is that situation that defines your success? And then right before your eyes, I want you to imagine it dissolving. Just dissolving into the earth. And then a new beautiful flower coming out of where it dissolved. And allow that flower to blossom within your heart space. Allow it to take over your entire heart. Because only you and you can define your success. Thank you.